doing research into possible celebrity hoaxes, I have found that every celebrity that has passed, Tupac, Elvis, and Michael Jackson, for example, have conspiracy theories that they are actually alive and being hidden by the Illuminati, and every celebrity that you think is alive, Paul McCartney, Miley Cyrus, and Avril Lavigne, for example, are actually deceased and was replaced by the Illuminati. I think we have all heard of these dozens of times, right? Well, except for Miley Cyrus. That one is new to me personally, but we will get into that later. I do not want to bore myself and you by talking about popular conspiracy theories that we have all heard before. I would rather talk about obscure oddities I do not know as much about. Argentine Playboy model, TV personality, and Big Brother competitor Natasha Jayat. In 2018, she made numerous public accusations of crimes against children committed by celebrities, including politicians, journalists, athletes, and affiliates of the Pope. She later tweeted, "Notice, I'm not going to myself. I'm not going to overdose or drown in a bathtub. I'm not going to myself in the head. So if that happens, I didn't do it." Save this tweet. She received an invitation to a hotel room in 2019 from a show producer where she began using substances. There, Natasha's body was discovered. A journalist published a picture of her unclothed and lifeless body shortly after, but it was eventually removed. Natasha posted the tweet in April, and 10 months later, in February, she passed away. Not immediately after, it's not too surprising that a celebrity overdosed, especially one that has been known for using illicit substances in the past. Honestly, not too uncommon of an occurrence. It is obviously suspicious that she specifically said she was not going to overdose. Perhaps two events were unrelated and she truly did overdose. Of all the powerful and wealthy people she accused of heinous, life-ruining crimes, likely at least one of them is crazy enough to get rid of her because of it, whether the accusation is true or not. They are dangerous and extremely difficult to come back from and should never be given lightly. Looking further into the case, the autopsy results showed Natasha suffered multiple organ failure with no trace of violence, but her brother argues she wouldn't have taken substances since they would have reacted to medication she had just started taking. And her lawyer found irregularities in the report and claimed her passing was the result of foul play. The producer who had invited her to stay in the hotel was detained for giving a false statement regarding how she passed, showing inconsistencies in the times of corresponding events he gave to police. He also said he had not moved anything that was at the crime scene, but security camera footage showed he moved a towel which had been covering her phone. I mean, you can't blame the guy too heavily for forgetting some details. He was inebriated. Just in June of this year, investigators were able to retrieve data from a tablet she had at the scene with the help of a security tool made in Israel, specializing in extraction and analysis of data from mobile devices for situations just like these. Investigators have made 95,000 attempts in 4 years to guess the passcode to her tablet. People on Reddit say she knew the risk she was putting herself at. I'm not a big conspiracy person, but we were really expected to believe that she uncovered this and then just mysteriously offed herself. Miley Cyrus. This one is completely new to me and is so interesting. I wonder why it's not talked about more. Conspiracies on 4chan suggest she is no longer alive, and surprisingly, they have evidence for it. Whether it's convincing evidence or not is up to you. In 2013, an anonymous poster claiming to be a Hollywood insider saying, "Let's play a quick game. See how much the political board really knows." Who was the first person to be inappropriate with Macaulay Culkin, and at what age? Miranda Cosgrove attempted to testify in court last year on the ground of someone being inappropriate with her, which Hollywood executives convinced her not to. Hint, Dan wasn't one. Apart from Nickelodeon and Disney, name a third famous network for its string of being appropriate with child characters. It's a 3-letter network. Victoria Justice was forced to perform favors on which Disney executive in order to get a part on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Ariana Grande's parents received threats from which Hollywood network after they found out what their daughter was forced to do. Hint, it's not Nick. An anonymous user posts, oh, do I want to say these names and get in trouble? They're names I've never heard before, and if you are not a fan of knowing Hollywood executives, I don't know if you know them either. I'm not giving names. Save my own ass. But if you search Miley Cyrus 4chan, not alive anymore, conspiracy or whatever, I'm sure you can find this 4chan post. Bonus, tell us what happened to the real Miley Cyrus, and someone responds, she went the way of the dodo. Ow, my fucking back, I'm hunching. I'm hunching over my camera, my back hurts. I'm at work right now filming this. Shout out to my coworker for not minding when I go outside to film videos. For Macaulay Culkin, he says, while you were right on the money, these were not the first. It was a quick question, as Macaulay Culkin was first a victim of someone being appropriate to him by his grandfather at age 4. Apparently for the Ariana Grande one, it's Hasbro. Hasbro did indeed make these threats, not officially of course, but anyone who does a little digging will know that Hasbro higher-ups tend to threaten force to keep people quiet. These are all claims by people on 4chan that I'm just sharing with you for entertainment. I do not necessarily believe any of these. I'm not claiming they're true in any way. I'm just reading posts that I found online that I found interesting. That is all I'm doing. I'm not naming any names. For the question, what happened to Miley Cyrus? He says it's better if you guys find out on your own. I'll spare you the tinfoil story, but I will point you in the right direction. An executive and Billy Ray Cyrus have a very close relationship. Look into it. Also, look into the property that KCL9 news station owns. All the property. Finally, there is a lot of desert east of LA. A couple years back, shortly after Can't Be Tamed was released, there were reports that someone had found Miley Cyrus's body way out in East LA with signs of dehydration along with bruising on her wrists and neck. It was all over KCal for like a day, and then the next day KCal apologized for promoting blatantly untrue statements. If anyone can find a video clip, that would be greatly appreciated. Another anonymous user writes, another Disney actress who was relatively unknown. She agreed to surgery to her face to match Miley Cyrus. Subtle differences can be spotted, such as placement of freckles and bone structure. Miley Cyrus, the original girl that we saw on Disney Channel, was hog-tied and beaten to the point of no longer being alive anymore by executives at Disney for refusing favors and asking to end her contract. Her body was driven to the desert of East LA, June 26, 2010. This is a claim. People spout bullshit on the internet all the time. I'm just reading these for entertainment purposes. Another user posts what is apparently the exact coordinates of where she was found, claiming that she was the victim of two Hollywood hitmen on August 2nd at 2:45 p.m. Even if this is fake, most likely every single damn thing I'm reading is fake. If you want to believe that, even if it's fake, these are interesting. Surely people aren't dumb enough to goddamn kill a huge celebrity. Or me. Surely you aren't dumb enough to kill me. Also, these two names that were listed that I'm not going to say are producers of My Little Pony. I'm not seeing any differences in the pictures here. Also, why not name the unknown Disney actress? Maybe because she doesn't exist. The man that the 4chan user names is a talent manager, most known for working with Britney Spears. On Good Morning America, I am finding that in August 2022, a jury found this man that I've never heard the name of in my life, and I'm sure you haven't either. But I'm not putting his name out there for my own ass. Oh, never mind. Larry Rudolph. This video was a mess. Was found guilty of fatally his wife on an African safari. This Larry Rudolph is also the person that the 4chan poster claims took the life of Miley Cyrus. That was claimed in 2013, 9 years before he took the life of his wife. He was also found guilty of mail fraud for cashing more than $4.8 million in life insurance claims in the connection to his wife's Bianca's passing in 2016. When Miley Cyrus was a guest on the Jimmy Fallon show, she said,
I'm not going to do Hannah Montana, but I can give you an update on what she's been up to. She was murdered.
To me, this is really interesting to look at whether there is any hint of truth to it or not. I am entertained. So, what were people saying about this? Socially maladjusted shut-ins don't realize that young women's faces change because of puberty, and makeup plays a huge part in the way a face looks also. Probably because they haven't met any girls in real life. My girlfriend has moles and freckles that appear and disappear quite regularly. She also has a dimple on her left cheek that only appeared in her late 20s. Sometimes I wonder if she's the same person I slept with the previous night. Also, if they didn't want her alone anymore, why replace her instead of saying she passed of another cause? She was simply too profitable for them. Another person suggests, as we age, our face naturally changes. I look nothing like I did 4 years ago when I was 16. I even weigh the same, but my face looks different. Plus, stars are known for getting a lot of plastic surgery. I'm sure someone was inappropriate with her, and that Hollywood is really messed up. But I think this is a bit of a stretch. Even if it is true, I don't want to waste my energy and time racking my brain about it. Have we really degenerated our thinking to the point where we mistake aging, lighting, photo angles, makeup, and cosmetic surgery for body doubles? Let's look at this picture from a reasonable standpoint here. Wrinkles can be covered up with makeup, or they could be the result of scrunching up the forehead. It's just not evidence because there's no reliable way to measure it with those two pictures. The cleft in the nose is simply not visible because they are not at the same angle. Her head is tilted slightly further forward in the second picture, which would expose the cleft, whereas in the first her head is slightly back, so you see a different part of her nose. She may have also had a minor rhinoplasty surgery, gum lip change. They can both recede and grow back. The pictures were taken years apart. Take a picture of yourself now. Down the road, your gums will also be different. The missing dimple is because the shape of her face changes as she got older. It happens. It's a totally natural phenomenon. The tattoo could mean a million different things. It's impossible to deter meaning from something inherently meaningless to someone looking at it from the outside. Lighting, makeup, different angle, and simple aging can account for the picture where her head is turned to the side. I won't say whether it happened, but this picture is some of the worst detective work I've seen. If you want a good indicator of whether it's the same person, find a high quality photo of her eyes, specifically her irises. From the pictures here, they look very similar. A higher resolution picture would give you some better details. She has also admitted to using a double in the past, but this was in 2008 when she was working for Disney, touring with the Jonas Brothers. Her body double would come out for 2 minutes as she changed from Hannah Montana into Miley Cyrus. Reportedly, fans complained that the body double was not very convincing. There were hoaxes that Miley Cyrus has passed. News 8 News posted that she was found in her bathtub, and authorities were investigating the case. And it was thought to be from prescription pills. There were no signs of foul play, though News 8 News is a fake news site. Recently, having posted about a woman who was caught breastfeeding her Sphynx cat on a Delta airline. Stories that have never happened. Inexplicable circumstances have claimed the lives of some of our most recognizable rock stars throughout the years in the music industry. Substance overdoses are a common cause. While autopsy results can help identify the cause, there are sometimes conflicting ideas as to how the person really passed away. Who else was in the room? Did they do it themselves? Was it accidental? A homicide? Unfortunately, we will never fully understand the circumstances in many of the documented cases. The 25-year-old founder of the Rolling Stones, Brian Jones, was found in a swimming pool in July 1969. He drowned as determined by the autopsy, but little else is understood, giving rise over the previous 50 years to a variety of different explanations. Mother of Sex Pistols member Sid Vicious discovered him in a New York apartment in 1979. Vicious had just been released on bail after being accused of taking the life of his ex-girlfriend. His passing was later confirmed to be an overdose. Due to the circumstances, there are a number of confusing theories surrounding this case as well. Some even contend that Vicious's mother purposely gave him the overdose because their relationship had a troubled history. Fans of The Doors, Jim Morrison, were given very little information about how their idol had passed away in Paris, France on July 3rd, 1971. Morrison had relocated to Paris earlier that year after being found guilty in the U.S. of indecent exposure and open profanity following allegations after he had exposed himself on stage during a 1969 performance in Miami. He was given a month prison term, and while he was planning on appeal, he made the decision to leave for Paris. While in Paris, Morrison and his companion Pamela Corson lived in a fourth-floor apartment at a period that when many thought the musician was making an effort to straighten out his life. According to the widely accepted version of events, Pamela was the one who discovered Jim in their apartment's bathtub. She provided an obviously fake account of events stating that he was her cousin and he had suffered a heart attack out of concern that she may be connected to his passing and prosecuted. Had the authorities known about the substances they had taken, by Pamela's request, the French authorities declined to do an autopsy. 2 days after his passing, the terrible news was released to the public following the funeral. Since there was no formal autopsy performed, it is generally believed that Jim Morrison overdosed. In her subsequent description of his passing, Pamela attested to this before she too passed away unexpectedly in 1974, 3 years later, from an overdose in Los Angeles. Lack of proof and the hurried burial naturally led to some intriguing conspiracy theories about what actually occurred that evening in 1971. One theory indicated that Morrison's passing had been a maliciously planned out assassination carried out by the CIA, which was made popular by British counterculture that the West had been experiencing over the past 10 years. Other related ideas blame the French secret services or assert that it was a Zionist plan. Although it is popularly believed that Morrison passed in the bathtub of his apartment, some claim that he actually passed away in a Paris nightclub restroom. The club manager once asserted that a couple of dealers had dragged Morrison's body into a taxi and brought it back to the apartment. He asserted that the club owner had kept this information to himself out of concern about controversy. According to other stories, he overdosed in the club and passed away a day or two later. The club owner wrote in his book, The End, Jim Morrison, "The beautiful California boy had become an inner lump crumpled in the toilet of a nightclub. We are certain he had been snorting the H substance." I am so sorry I have to censor myself out of fear of getting demonetized on YouTube. I really wish I didn't. On TV, they talk about true crime cases and make offensive jokes, but you can't do that on YouTube without losing advertising. There was a foam coming out of his lips as well as a red substance. Marlene Faithfull said in 2014 that the substances that Morrison overdosed on were provided to him by her then boyfriend, a well-known celebrity dealer in France who also supplied Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. She said, "He went to see Jim Morrison and took his life. I mean, I'm sure it was an accident, poor bastard. The smack was too strong, yeah, and he passed." Over the years, there have been some suggestions that Morrison may have actually passed, but had instead staged his passing in order to start a new life and put the problems of his previous life behind. I mean, the only way to get out of being a celebrity is to pass away. Say, just for example, Ariana Grande stops releasing music. She's still always going to be Ariana Grande unless she passes away, which hopefully she will not, of course. A. Manzarek, the organist for the Doors, said he could support this hypothesis based on conversations he recalled having with the Trouble singer in 1970. His agent also agrees he is alive. This claim appears to be widely shared. In 2016, many fans discussed a Morrison doppelganger. Unfortunately, we can't be certain exactly what happened on that night in 1971 when an important cultural figure lost his life. Once saying in an interview, "I am not a comic, I have never told a joke." The comedian's promise is that he will go out there and make you laugh with him. "My only promise is that I will entertain you as best I can." Andy Kaufman was a performer and entertainer from the United States. Despite recently being referred to as a comedian, he preferred to refer to himself as a song and dance man. The term anti-comedian has been used to describe him. He detested making jokes and doing comedy in the conventional sense. Early in the 1970s, he performed in small comedy clubs before being invited to perform his act in the first season of Saturday Night Live in 1974, bringing him to the attention of a larger audience. His performance on the popular television show Taxi for 5 years starting in 1978 was based on the portrayal of the foreign man. He continued to perform in a series of original performance art shows while touring comedy clubs at this time. Additionally, he frequently appeared on comedic sketches and late-night talk shows, mostly late night with David Letterman. At the age of 35, Kaufman passed away from lung cancer on May 16, 1984. As convoluted tricks and practical jokes played a significant role in his career, persistent suspicions remained that he staged his own demise as a huge hoax, which he had previously joked about. He continues to be respected for the variety of his characters, his unique approach to comedy, and his willingness to provoke unfavorable and confused reactions from audiences. The story that he faked his passing is referred to as an urban legend on Kaufman's official website, which also features a photo of the certificate of his passing. I'm not even sure I can say the D word without being demonetized. This is ridiculous, and I really hope YouTube does something about it in the future. The creators and the viewers are suffering because of this. Though 30 years after his passing, the rumors persist. During the annual comedy award ceremony, the Andy Kaufman Awards, Michael Kaufman, Andy's brother, introduced a woman before describing how he had come across a letter in which Andy had laid out his intentions for faking his demise.
Like, I'm not trying to prove anything, you know, it's just that, like, he told me this because he was really sad about his dad, and it's very strange for me, too, because I didn't get to meet him. I never got to meet you. I mean, it would make you my uncle.
So do you feel like I'm your uncle?
I don't feel like you're my uncle because I don't know you, but you have the similar thingy, like eyes and stuff.
Does he have any message? He sent you here. Does he have a message?
Well, he didn't tell me specifically to impart anything, but I just know that he's so, like, excited about this. I didn't know that he watched all of the stuff on YouTube because he hid everything from us or on the internet. But then when we had a million billion discussions because it was really crazy, he did say, like, how much he cares about the awards and feels like, you know, because that's his only representation in the world, whatever. So I don't know how much longer he can keep everything away.
Did he almost come this year?
Well, he was really, really, really thinking about it.
So he's really getting close to, like, revealing himself?
I don't know what to say. I mean, he was really thinking about coming. Like, something in him needs to come out, you know, and I, of course, getting to know this new part of my dad and stuff, I think, like, I don't know, that would be fun.
What's he doing now?
Well, he just wanted to be a stay-at-home dad, you know, because that's why he wanted to leave the showbiz and whatever. And so he's just pretty much a great dad and raised us. And my mom has her own business and stuff like that. And then he helps her with that kind of thing, paperwork and stuff, so he can work from home. And he doesn't have to be concealing himself. But he just makes us food and takes care of the house and stuff.
At the risk of looking like a fool, even more now, I'm not hungry, just in case you want my news. We'll give you your name. I don't know your name. Let her have her privacy.
Al Parlino, a longtime acquaintance of the comment, asserts, "I witnessed the entire thing and I can tell you without doubts this is not a prank." Michael claimed a stranger approached him and gave him a typed letter, which he read aloud to the audience and claimed was written by Andy, adding that he had fallen in love with a woman who he was raising a daughter with. Everything was great in his life and he just wanted to get away from being Andy Kaufman. Michael explained the daughter, then 24 years old, had been in touch with him earlier and had then agreed to go with him to the awards. The woman's first name is unknown, but Parlino claims she went by the surname McCoy, which Kaufman frequently used to check himself into hospitals. According to one audience member's Facebook post, the woman informed the crowd that her alleged father was alive and that his desire to contact his brother was motivated by her grandfather, Stanley Kaufman's passing a few years prior. The experience was described as real as any reality I have seen. In the story, according to a report, the audience was stunned into silence during the presentation, and one woman burst into tears as Michael read the letter. The manager of the comedy club claimed that you could see by the look on Michael's face that it had an emotional impact on him. I don't know whether someone is perpetrating something on Michael or not. When asked if he believed the woman's account, he said, "I'm truly 50-50 on this one." Parlino, despite the fact that he was present at Kaufman's funeral and had witnessed the body, is a believer. It was a closed casket. Only the family and myself actually saw the body. He explains that even with his body as evidence, it was still possible that he could have faked his passing. Andy was an aficionado on medication, one of the many things Andy was taught at the highest level, where one could slow down his breath to a point where you could literally fool anyone that you may have lost your life when in fact you are alive. According to Michael, he believes he is the victim of a hoax and is as skeptical as anyone else. If it was a hoax on Michael, it was incredibly cruel. Kaufman's manager, George Shapiro, was with him on the day of his passing, saying, "Andy is very much alive in our hearts, but I don't think his body is around. He passed away. I was in the hospital." His brother said, "I saw him emaciated. I saw him lose his life." Michael said the woman told him a lot of secrets that Andy and him had together, like their secret handshake, the way Andy made fun of him for being too nice of a guy. Andy did have a daughter. When he was 17 years old, she was given up for adoption. Stanley Kaufman wondered about his granddaughter's whereabouts for years, especially after his son Andy passed away. About 20 years ago, he finally met his granddaughter. The two grew incredibly close. She became one of Stanley's supporters as he battled cancer. It was described by him as a beautiful, beautiful relationship. He declared, "She's the best gift my son ever gave to me." It didn't take long for the comedy club to reveal that the young woman is Alexandra Tartarsky, an actress who was chosen by Michael, who he had previously met to play the part of his daughter. Maybe when Andy passed, he could have requested his family and friends to make it seem like a hoax for his legacy to continue. Or more likely, when a celebrity loses their life, people like to speculate.
Fans say Kaufman has a long-lost son in Indiana who eventually tracked Kaufman down in Albuquerque. Fans believe the son created this cryptic video of Kaufman and posted it online after Kaufman shunned him. Whoever posted the video claims one of the clips shows Kaufman walking through a parking lot full of New Mexico license plates, but it's this clip that causes the most speculation.
I don't know if it's him or not, but that one black and white one where it shows his face, I think it looks like it could possibly be him.
And it's not the first time the New Mexico theory has come up. A few years ago, there were rumors he was living in Taos. And in 2005, a claim that Andy Kaufman was seen panhandling at an Albuquerque Walmart, something he was known to do as a gag.
Please come with me. Sorry, we have to go.
Hey, I am out, man. Read my lips.
David Carradine was an American actor, director, and musician whose career spanned more than 6 decades and more than 200 main and supporting roles in film, television, and on stage. He was well known to television viewers as the lead actor in the Kung Fu television series from the 1970s, Kill Bill. On May 31st, 2009, he traveled to Bangkok, Thailand, to begin filming his most recent movie, Stretch. On June 3rd, he was last seen alive, but his assistants and the other members of the film crew left without him since they couldn't get in touch with him before heading out to dinner. The group was across town, so when Carradine called the assistant an hour later, he was informed that he would need to make his own plans for the evening. The next day, at the age of 72, he was found in his hotel room's closet naked and hanged with a curtain cord. Police said he passed about 12 hours prior to being found and saw no signs of struggle. Thai police suggested since he was undressed, the rope was also tied around his genitals and wrists, and he left no note. It was accidental suffocation due to autoerotic asphyxiation. According to his relatives, stated Carradine was assassinated by a covert kung fu sect because he was trying to out an illegal martial arts organization. The attorney in the case, Mark Drago, said David was very interested in investigating and disclosing secret societies. What this means is connected to his interest in martial arts, and so there is a suspicion that if there was some foul play, that may be the first area they should look. Because of his wrists being tied behind his back and the fact that there was a footprint on the bed that didn't match his shoes, his manager also believes that there was foul play involved, saying, "For sure there's foul play. We definitely don't believe he did it himself. David was a great guy and a great client and a great friend." In response to accusations of assassination, the fourth of David's 5 wives stated that the actor frequently engaged in potentially life-threatening kinky sex activities, claiming that if he was involved in secret societies, it was a secret that even she didn't know about. According to reports, his family has urged the FBI to send U.S. special agents to Thailand to look into the matter. Also enraged after seeing a photograph of the actor's body hanging from a rail in the hotel room's closet published by a Bangkok newspaper. It has also been suggested he hired a Thai escort who ended his life. His passing is suspicious, especially since he is a celebrity, and it should be looked further into. Actor, martial artist, and creator of Mexican Judo, Juan Tyrone Garcia is reserved as a cultural icon and one of the most important Mexican martial artists in the 20th century. His Hollywood-produced films with Mexican influences gave the classic Latino martial arts movies a boost in popularity and cultural praise. They also greatly increased American interest in Mexican martial arts in the 1970s. Garcia's wife, Lydia, reported him missing on April 4, 1979. Police authorities revealed that Garcia was thought to be deceased after an extensive and tedious search for him. A month later, Garcia was given an official funeral in Mexico City. Since that time, Mexico has designated May 14th as Juan Tyrone Garcia Day. According to certain conspiracy theories, the mob kidnapped and executed Juan because Juan owed them a sizable debt. His unfinished last film, Kung Fu Star Fighters, is said to have have been partially funded by the mob. Others think Juan paid the mob to keep him safe and is hiding after spending years in the public eye. However, there has been a strong undertone in the entertainment business that Juan Tyrone Garcia's absence and potential demise are actually the fault of a small but powerful group of the Hollywood elite. Since 1979, Juan has been seen numerous times, just like other celebrities people think are alive, like Elvis. The producer of Garcia's films removed them from the public domain just because authorities assumed that he had passed away. There was a growing suspicion that Garcia's producer and the Hollywood community were behind his disappearance. There's rumor in Hollywood that Garcia kept a black book that detailed his final few months of life and work. A crew member on Kung Fu Star Fighters described the book's contents, saying it went into great detail about who exactly was financing the movie and who was to blame for Garcia's erratic behavior. Also saying a small elite group of Hollywood higher-ups had in their plot to ruin Garcia's career and motives for erasing him from the public's collective consciousness. The mysterious book no longer exists. Many Garcia supporters, family members, and friends are hopeful that the truth about his final days and abrupt, mysterious disappearance will someday come to light. He or his body have never been found.